and welcome to Cooking with Mallory. I'm Mallory Gore, and this is my mom, Lindsay Gore. Hi. Today, we'll be teaching you how to make Parisian Macarons. Here are the ingredients we'll use. 5 egg whites, some food coloring, 1 2/3 cup powdered sugar, 2 cups almond flour, 1 cup granulated sugar, and 1/4 cup water. If you want to see it, here's the recipe.
Okay, so basically when we make macarons, we're making a dry mixture and a liquid mixture. The liquid mixture is a meringue, but we're going to start with the dry mixture. So you have to combine the almond flour and the confectioner's sugar, but it has to be very fine and separated. So it's really important that you actually sift and press both the almond flour and the confectioner's sugar through a wire mesh sifter like this one, and then we're going to mix them together with a whisk. When you get near the end of your sifting the almond flour, sometimes you have to manually press the lumps through the mesh. We like to wear gloves when we do this so that you don't get flour under your fingernails.
Or just on your hands at all. This is a much faster process than, once you get to the end, it's okay to do it, and it's a much faster process when doing this. Next, we are doing the powdered sugar. In case you didn't hear her, the powdered sugar is much finer, so it goes through easier than the almond flour.
Okay, since you have gloves, why don't you press those through?
Okay. Once again, we are pressing the flour through. I mean, not flour, powdered sugar. So.
Okay, when we're done with this, we're going to whisk them both together so they're blended evenly.
We whisk the 2 almond flour and powdered sugar together till they're thoroughly mixed, right?
Yep. Because it's important that your dry mixture be completely lump-free when you make your macarons, sometimes we'll sift the dry mixture a second time after we combine the flour and powdered sugar.
You'll scoop the powder back into the sifter. Not all of it, but most of it. In the next step, we're going to divide our egg whites in half. That's about 75 milliliters in each half. We're going to put the food coloring in 1/2.
We usually use a lot of food coloring because we like our macarons to be really brightly colored. So this is about 35 drops of food coloring in here. We wanted purple, but we only had blue and red, so we did 20 drops of blue and 15 drops of red.
We don't know what it's going to turn out to look like, but we'll find out.
That's the fun of it.
You can use whatever colors you want. We decided to use this.
So Mallory's going to mix the food coloring and the egg whites.
You
1/2.
You can stir it. See, you don't necessarily have to stir it with a spatula like we are. You can stir it with a spoon or whisk too.
And you can switch to a whisk if you want.
No, I'm good with this.
Okay. I'm going to take the other half of our egg whites and put them in a stand mixer with the whisk attachment. And they need to be whisked until they hold medium to firm peaks. So that this is going to be used to make a meringue.
As you may remember, we said the liquid mixture is a meringue.
That's right.
So right now, as you've probably already noticed, we're working on the liquid
That's right.
mixture.
Yep. Okay, so I like to put it on about 4, 5, and have it going on 5. The next step will be in the next.
Next, we are going to pour our colored egg whites into our dry mixture. We'll mix it with a bigger spatula this time. Now this one you have to use the spatula.
So we're gonna sort of lift and smash these ingredients together until it forms a homogeneous paste.
Now she's finishing up the mix and smash, is what she calls it, and the part of it. See, it didn't turn out as a purple, but it did turn out as a very beautiful blue.
All right.
Now, we've finished it, and it is a very beautiful color. See,
So here's our whipped egg whites, and as you can see, we've got it holding a peak. So if you haven't made a meringue before, the way you do that, the way you check, is I actually just use the whisk. Oops, wrong button. The whisk that's on there. Lift it kind of quickly out of your egg whites. See if it forms a peak, which it did, and if it stays standing. So that's whipped enough. We're gonna add our sugar syrup to this in just a minute, but we're gonna show you how to make it first. In the meantime, we're just gonna let this keep mixing on low.
now we are going to start making our,
Sugar syrup.
yes, we are
So-
going to use,
We're gonna put our cup of sugar and our 1/4 cup of water in a saucepan. And I've got my heat set to high, and we're gonna wait till it starts boiling. And once the sugar's melted all the way, and you'll be able to tell because the liquid will be completely clear. It'll look like water. So once it's hot enough to melt the sugar, but not caramelize it, we're gonna remove it from the heat and pour it immediately over our egg whites. So you want to stir constantly while you're melting your sugar. And I like to use this little mini spatula to keep the sugar away from the edges of the pan, because those little bits up on the sides can get so hot that they will caramelize while you're waiting on the rest to melt. So you want to make sure you're stirring the whole time. And as you can see, it's still a little bit cloudy, but it's getting clearer than it was earlier. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but once it turns completely clear, like I said, then we're going to go walk it over to our stirring egg whites and pour it straight in.
as you can see, they are still going, and here.
You kind of see how that's getting clearer. So you can see there's a little bit of foam on there from it boiling, but our sugar's completely melted. We have a clear liquid. It's totally transparent. So we're going to turn the heat off and take it over. You want to follow me there? As the bubbles are slowing down, you can kind of tell more how clear it is. And we're going to turn this up to medium, and we're going to pour it over the moving whisk slowly, because you don't want it to splash up too much. Now once all of your sugar is in, we're going to turn it up to high and let it go. And no, not in my face, please. Go until it's cool. So if you feel the bottom of your bowl here, it's hot because I just poured hot liquid into it. You'll know that the meringue is ready when it's cool to touch. It's brought down to room temperature. So this is just going to mix. Usually takes, I don't know, 7 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, Probably.
How does it feel?
Still a little warm, but cooler.
Okay, so it needs to go a little longer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, how does it feel?
I think it's ready.
Okay.
Finally.
Okay, unlock it.
Oh, that's locking it.
Oh, whoops. All right, so we have this glorious, glossy, and delicious meringue that we're going to mix into our paste.
It's recording. Now she's gonna put the meringue in our colored egg whites, which turned out to be a very, very pretty color. What did you say it looked like?
Denim blue. So now we're gonna mix the meringue in to the paste, the same method that we used to mix in the colored egg whites. Just sort of a lift and press. Mallory decided to take a little break for a while. So as you can see, we lost a lot of the color density when we mixed in the meringue. It dilutes it a lot. So that's why I mentioned you want to put a lot of food color in there if you want your cookies fairly bright or dark or, you know, just colorful in general. So this is a more pastel kind of purpley blue. And I'm going to leave it up to Mallory if she wants to leave it like this or add some more color. What do you think, babe?
Well, I think we should add the teeniest bit more red to make it a little darker.
Okay, and more purple?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. So you go grab the red food coloring.
Okay.
And put a few drops in. That's the wrong way.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
What can I say about licking this? I'm 9.
Okay, Mallory has washed her hands
Mm-hmm.
before getting back to making food since she was licking them.
Hey, I'm 9.
She's gonna mix in our red food coloring.
We'll do the same thing we did with the egg whites and when we were stirring in the meringue with the colored egg whites.
So this part takes a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
You gotta mix and you gotta scrape the paste from the bottom and flip it up on top and really smash everything together. But as you can see, we added a little more red and our color's a little more purple now because we added more red to the blue, which makes purple. And it's pasteled out from the egg white, so it's kind of a nice lavender color.
Yeah. Actually,
Now, a lot of people think that macaron's flavor is in the cookies, but the flavor of the macaron is really just what you fill it with. So you use this batter, whether you want to do caramel, blueberry, strawberry, lime, vanilla, doesn't matter. You make your cookies and then you fill it with whatever flavor you want. Usually, we'll choose our color based on our filling. So if we were gonna make lime macarons, we would probably make our cookies lime green. If we were
Right.
gonna make orange cream macarons, we would make them orange, and so on.
Or-
we haven't actually decided what flavor we're gonna put in here, but maybe we'll use this lavender to inspire us to pick our filling.
yes. Usually we do strawberry with pink cookies, but who knows what we'll do. Now for the final and very fun step. It's not the most fun step. That's eating it.
So next, we're gonna put our batter into, normally we use a pastry bag to pipe them. We don't need a hole yet. Don't get out of order.
Okay.
So you wanna take a glass, a tall-ish glass if you have one, and open up your Ziploc / pastry bag. That's too close. Back up. Put it in there. and then wrap the edges on the outside. So I'm gonna make 2 of these, one for me and one for Mallory, and we're gonna pipe our macarons.
Now, we'll put the syrup we've made, or what's it called? Batter we've made into the Ziploc bags, or pastry.
Or a pastry bag, if you have them.
Mine is the more full one.
So in between, I always keep them in the glass. So we're gonna cut a hole to pipe the batter out of. But when you're in between piping, because this makes a lot of cookies, I think it makes, I don't know, 50 total, and then sandwiched together you get 25. I'll let you know when we're done, I don't remember. But anyway, once the hole is cut open, when you're ready to pause in between piping and you need to set it down, I always tuck that closed and set it in the bag. Otherwise it's pretty runny, so it'll keep oozing out and make a huge mess. So, Mallory, would you like to cut? Now we want to start out with smaller, because you can always make the hole bigger, but you can't make it smaller if you make it too big.
It would be on a...
Very nice. Okay, so then let's do a little test here.
Yes. That's perfect.
Maybe we need it a little bit bigger than that.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Okay, I'm gonna put this closer so you guys can see.
Yeah, you're probably all right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want about, I guess that's probably a 1/4 inch wide. So we're gonna pinch it off, fold it under, set it in the cup until we're ready to go start piping our cookies.
Yep. We use a template to make sure all our macarons are the same size. We got these on Amazon, and as you can see, they can be Mickey or round shape, and they can be different sizes. We use parchment paper, and because it's see-through, you can just lay it on top and see all of your template.
All right. So Mallory is going to start piping.
Yes.
And because she's right-handed and we don't want her hands to get in the right side, we're going to work left to right. So you want to center your hole over the black dot in the middle. That's not working. Okay, so I'm going to do one first, and then Mallory's going to show you how to finish. So you want to line up the tip of your hole in your bag with the dark dot in the center of the circle, and squeeze while it's almost touching until your circle is filled, and then lift. And then do the next one. Squeeze and lift. Squeeze and lift. And don't worry about those little peaks that are standing up. Those will settle. So here you go, baby. Okay, so we've set our oven to preheat at 350, and this is another important step. This will make sure that you don't get any air bubbles, because you want your cookies to be really smooth and even and flat when they're done.
Now this step is a very loud step.
Okay, ready?
It's called the drop.
That's a little high. You want to drop it from about 8 inches up usually.
Like this?
Yep.
Loud.
Do the next one.
Can you put it on for me on the counter?
Yep.
Actually.
Okay, so I usually take our baking sheet, slide the cookies on with the parchment paper, and then we're going to do the double drop. 1 and 2. And then we're going to wait a few minutes. Usually, I don't know, seems like it takes about 10 minutes, but you want these to actually dry a little bit before you bake them. So the way that you tell, and we'll show you on video when it's time, is you press them. Actually, I'll show you right now when it's not ready. When you press it, it comes off sticky on your hand. when they're dried and ready to bake, if you just very gently, gingerly touch it, nothing comes off on your hand. So it's sort of like it's formed a dry skin. Then they're ready to bake. So Mallory is doing a great job making us some Mickey-shaped macarons. And I'm over here, and we're gonna test, this was the first batch we did, and we're gonna see if they're ready to go in. So I'm gonna touch it gently. Oh, and a little bit came off, so they're still not quite ready.
I am going to test these and to see if they're done.
Yep.
I think they're
nothing
ready.
Came off, so they're ready to go in the oven.
Yep.
Okay, well, you can't lift that up.
Yeah.
That's a piece of paper.
You're right.
So we're gonna take our baking sheet.
Yep.
Do you know how to do this, or do you need me to?
You need to.
So, I'm gonna take our baking sheet and gently slide the cookies on and put it in our oven on the center rack. We're gonna set a timer for 12 minutes.
We just heard the timer go off for the oven. There it is. So my mom's.
Take our cookies out.
Yep.
You can do a close-up of it from the side. And I like to just slide them off the hot cookie sheet onto the cool counter to cool. This one we accidentally dripped water on, so it's pretty much ruined, but the rest of them are looking pretty good.
I zoomed.
Okay, another important tip, don't ever use a hot pan to cook your next batch of cookies. If you put them on a hot pan, they'll be completely deformed and blown up and nothing like what they're supposed to. They won't look like this at all. So you want a fresh, cool pan or sheet, which we have over here, ready for our second batch of cookies.
I already tested them and they are ready. And they go to the oven. Oh.
And again, 12 minutes.
Yep. We decided to use strawberry preserves on our lavender cookies. This is the final step. Well, not the final step, because that's eating them. But it's the final step of cooking them.
So you take a cool cookie.
And you scoop some jelly onto the cookie.
About that much.
You find one that looks about the same size and sandwich that on top. I think these two are like.
Yeah, we try to match same size and shape so that when your sandwich is done, it looks nice and symmetrical and pretty.
Also like this one.
After you've filled and sandwiched all your cookies, they're actually best if you refrigerate them overnight, about 24 hours.
But
The jam, so the cookies are crunchy at first, but the jam or other filling will soak into the cookie and make it kind of moist and chewy in the middle, but you'll have that nice crisp on the outside. So you want to put them in an airtight container, a Ziploc bag, or some kind of storage container and refrigerate them overnight. They can also be frozen and thawed out later. They stay good for about 3 days, wouldn't you say, Mallory?
yeah, more like a week actually.
Okay. But if you think you're not going to eat them in the first week or so, you can freeze them. And as promised, I was going to count. So we have batches of 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 sheets of 24. So that's 124 cookies. So we'll have 62 after they're sandwiched. So this recipe makes plenty, but it also takes a really long time because there's a lot of steps.
And there's a lot of cookies. Here.
All right.
If you want it, just a little sneak peek of the book we got this from. Now for our finale.
Thanks for watching our video, and we hope you make some macarons.
Bye now. Hope you had a great time. I'll be showing you the ingredients. Oh!
See why this takes.
The video started, you should be talking.
Ready?
Hello. Now for the final.
Oh, I wasn't recording.